In today's kitchen, we are going to cook tres leches. Tres leches is a Latin American, South American, you can even say from Spain or Italy. It's also known as pastel boracho. Reason being is after it's cooked, you will marinate the cake with 3 different milks. A cup of evaporated milk, a cup of condensed milk, and a cup of heavy cream whisked with a tablespoon of dark rum or your favorite liqueur and a half a teaspoon of vanilla. And that will be poured on the cake on one side, and then you flip the cake over and marinate it with the rest of the cream and serve. But first, let's make the cake. To make the cake, we have separated 6 eggs, 6 egg whites, which we will beat until stiff for at least 7 to 8 minutes, and mix in gradually with the 1.5 cups of sugar. The 6 egg yolks that we separated will only need 3. The rest we'll save for something else, like making polvorones, another video that I've done. First, you'll also whisk together 1.5 cups of unbleached flour with a tablespoon of baking powder.
A correction on the cinnamon, it's a half a teaspoon of cinnamon.
So let's get the egg whites going. You can actually use a whisk or a fork. We're just going to mix this together. So we have whisked this. This makes it like if you're cutting the flour. The flour and the half a cup of whole milk will be added in after the egg whites have stiffened and the sugar has been incorporated into the egg whites with the 3 egg yolks. As we see here, the egg whites have stiffened. Since the egg whites are now have stiff peaks, we will gradually add in the sugar. A correction on the flour, it's a half a teaspoon of cinnamon in the flour with a tablespoon of baking powder. Made a mistake. What we'll add is 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And we will add now 3 egg yolks carefully, not to break them. And we'll do it one at a time. Get them well incorporated into your egg white. And we will save an egg yolk. And we'll save the egg yolks to make polvorones. Start with the flour and end with the flour in 3 additions. So flour, milk, flour, milk, flour. Lower the speed so it doesn't fly out. 1.5 cups of flour, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Incorporate it into your egg whites that have been stiffed with sugar and 3 egg yolks and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Now put half of our milk in here. Since it's a half a cup, put a 1/4 cup in there. This is 1.5 of the flour. You can use that. Put it in the other batch. Have it incorporated. You should slow down the speed when you add the flour so it doesn't fly in your face, and then increase it to do the wet. Preheat your oven at 350. Grease a 9-inch pan, springform pan, put some parchment paper on the bottom, or you can do it in a square 8 by 8 by 2 pan as well. We're going to bake it at 350 for 20 minutes, then lower it to 325 and bake it for another 20 minutes until it is a golden brown, and when you press out the center it springs back and a toothpick comes out clean. Here we go. It's almost like a sponge cake. I'm just going to fold in the sides, scrape them down, fold it in. Okay, so now our batter has been whipped, folded, and ready to be poured into our prepared pan that has been greased and put with parchment paper, springform pan, or you can do it in a brownie type of pan, which is like an 8 by 8 by 2, but it has to be well greased because you have to pop this out so you can marinate it with your 3 leches, your 3 milks. So it comes out really nice and smooth. Not really a sinful cake, but ooh, so good. I'm going to get everything in the pan. Just flatten it out. Again, your oven's at 350, bake for 20 to 25 minutes. Then you're going to bake it for another 20 minutes at 325. Wait till it gets golden brown, springs back after touching, toothpick comes out clean. And then when it comes out, you're going to let it cool for a few minutes, pop it out, and we'll do the next step of the 3 milks with the rum and the vanilla and marinate the cake. Okay, our cake has finished cooking. We're going to take it out and take a look at it. Golden brown. Our tester comes out clean. And like I said, like a sponge cake. Bounces back up, springs back up. As our cake cools for a few minutes, we have pre-mixed here a cup or so of condensed milk, a cup of skim evaporated milk, and a cup of heavy cream. Yeah, don't forget, the evaporated milk should be skim, you know. Gotta lighten on the calories, even though the condensed and heavy cream will kill you. So we've whipped that together with a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract and a tablespoon of your type of liqueur. It could be dark rum. I used some Kahlua coffee liqueur just to give it a heavier, bolder taste. And then once the cake has cooled, we're going to pop it out, flip it over, and put half of this on top of the cake, and then we'll flip the cake again over and spoon the other half. And we'll do that in just a few minutes. Once your cake has been cooling for 15 minutes, just run a butter knife, a thin knife, around the edges to loosen it up. Still warm to the touch. Prepare yourself a rack with a pan underneath it, because you're going to put half of your 3 leches on your cake and let it soak it in for 10 minutes. And doesn't this look like a beautiful cake? Look at that. Look at that cake. It's beautiful. Still hot on the other side though. Hot, hot. So take your wire rack, use it for guidance to flip. Take off the bottom here. Peel off your parchment paper. Look how pretty that is. Steam still going. Place it over a pan that has some lining on it. And you're going to actually take the same knife and punch some holes. Or slits, if you want to say. Here we go. Alright, so just make some slits in the cake so that your tres leches, your 3 milks, and one of them is skim, yes, oddly enough, but doesn't have to be. Keep on saying it because I find it kind of comical. And we're going to spoon this over. And approximately you're going to put half of this on here and let it soak for 10 minutes. See? And as you see, the milk is quickly being absorbed by the cake. You're going to spoon it over. And as you see how the tres leches is being absorbed by the cake. Does help to put in some slits though. And just a little bit more, because I said only half you want to put on here. And you're going to let this sit, descansar as one would say. You'll let your drunken cake, your tres leches cake, rest for 10 minutes before we flip it and repeat it. Now that the cake has sat for 10 minutes, we'll flip it onto a plate. What you see there. And again, make some slits. Make some slits so that, and when you make slits now, you can tell it's moist with the milk. It's got absorbed a lot of it. And spoon it over the cake. With the spoon, spread it in a circular pattern so it's not just all in the center. You want the edges to get some of that milk. The drunken milk. Don't worry if any of the juice of the milk goes on the side of the pan of your plate, because the cake will absorb it. It is like a sponge cake. And there you have it. A tres leches pastel boracho. I hope you've enjoyed my cooking class. Enjoy my other ones of polvorones and making concretas, and there's more on Goal 4 or Cocinarista Cook at my YouTube channel. Enjoy!